Welcome everyone for another Goblins versus Gnomes card reveal and review. Alrighty then, it's another day. We've got more cards, including one that I seem to have skipped over. My apologies. Alright, so without further ado, the card that I skipped over. Sabotage! Yes, cue a Beastie Boys song here. Oh, that's right, I don't want to pay for licensing of it. Okay, so Sabotage, 4 mana. It's an epic. Destroy a random enemy minion, combo, and your opponent's weapon. I know I'm supposed to try to find an upside for this card, and I really am trying, but it's rather difficult. However, I will say this, you know, we do have a mech that gives both players a weapon. So, but for 4 mana, wouldn't you just play an acidic swamp ooze? I don't know. It seems a little bit too bloated for what it does. I'm not a huge fan of it in any way, shape, or form. I don't think it's all that great. If I came across this in Arena, yeah, I would pick something else every single time. So, maybe it was a good thing I skipped over it beforehand. Anywho, alright, so let's get to the next 3 cards that were just released yesterday. Alright, so, Crackle! Another Shaman. Alright, so 2 mana. Alright, it's a cheap spell. Deal 3 to 6 damage, overload 1. So, it's either a Frostbolt without the freeze or a Fireball for 2 mana. It's arguably always a better Lightning Bolt, because Lightning Bolt only does overload 1. Now, would I replace Lightning Bolt with this? No. Would I throw this in with it? Yes. Maybe a 1 of, maybe 2, who knows. The possibility of doing just a pure damage deck, like spell power damage deck with Shaman, is not really, it's not quite there, but it's getting there. It really is. But again, remember, this is 3 to 6. It's not consistent damage, alright? But it could turn the tables really nicely, or it could backfire in your face. Welcome to Shaman RNG. I mean, it's literally got 3, you know, it can either be a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6. That's 4 variances, alright? You have a 25% chance at each of them. So, you have 25% chance to get, you know, a 6 is one way of looking at it. So, yeah, obviously if you get a 3 for 2, that sucks. 4 for 2 is getting a little bit better, but still kind of crappy. So you basically have a 50% chance of getting something that's above the power curve, which would be 5 or 6. 5 or 6 for 2 mana, that's great. And you have a 50% chance of hitting that. So that's how I'm looking at this card, and I think this card is actually pretty freaking decent. It's also a common too, which means in Arena you could get so many of these. Yeah, mages aren't the only ones who can pull that kind of gimmick off. Alright, but remember, Overload, hopefully they'll introduce another minion that kind of gets some sort of functionality over Overload. That would be kind of cool, but probably not. Alright, so the 3rd card today, the Steamweedle Sniper, 2 mana for a 2/3. This is another epic. Your hero power can target minions. Okay, I know everybody is about to flip living shit on this guy. Oh my god, they gave Hunters a shadow form. No, Hunters already had a shadow form. Okay? This is not all that impactful in any way, shape, or form. Most likely people aren't going to use it. I kind of wish I hadn't voted for this card, to be honest with you. He's kind of cool, but I can think of other things I'd rather put in that 2 slot. You know, something that interacts with Beast, something that brings out a secret, something that's going to allow me to use my hero power on minions rather than on my opponent's faces where I'm normally wanting it to go. Not very good. But Shiv, what about a control deck? Okay, fine, let's look at this if you're going to make a Hunter control. Alright, so wouldn't this be better? Because now you're getting more tempo out of it. Yes, for a turn. Which, by the way, that turn doesn't start till turn 4. So how much control really are you going to be getting because of this guy? Not much. A 2-3 body, on curve it's great, after curve not so much. He's not going to survive very long. And in all honesty, just because you can now use your hero power on enemy minions is not really going to be all that impactful in any way, shape, or form. And even if somebody thought steals this, it won't matter. It's just a 2-3. Their hero power doesn't change around. It's only hunter specific. So, yay on that. Alright, and the last one, the Druid of the Fang. 5 mana for a 4/4. Are you feeling underwhelmed? Keep reading. Battlecry. If you have a beast, transform this minion into a 7/7. Now this is kind of an interesting thing here. Another class getting some beast synergy? Yes, actually they are. Now, what I'm wondering is, there's already Druid of the Claw, and that's also in the 5 mana range. But when it's pick one or the other, and you transform into that. Is that transformation going to now be classed as a beast? If so, whoa. But this falls really in line with how druids work. They're all about getting stuff out ahead of the curve using innervates and wild growths. Well, now you got a minion that has this built in, but you just have to meet its condition, and that condition is having a beast. So will this see play? Well, yeah, Haunted Creeper is a beast, so yeah, it's possible. But most likely it'll all depend on whether or not the Druid of the Claws, either bear or panther, are actually classed as beast when they come down. And if that's the case, then yes, very much so. Because you could go Druid of the Claw and then play this guy out the next turn. Yeah, hey look, I made a 4/6, next turn I make a 7/7, have a nice day. But that's only if that scenario applies. If not, well then you're going to have to redesign your Druid decks in order to get value out of this. In all honesty, I think I would rather play this guy than Mech Bear Cat. Just saying. So I like this. I like it a lot. It's definitely right in line with what we know of druids, and it's a common. So let's take a look on the arena aspect of this. In arena, 5 mana for 4/4. Am I going to pick this? Well, you look at 5 mana and there's already some really good ones out there, but in common not so much. So I mean, there's a couple that come to mind that are pretty decent, but class-wise, I think I would take this any day. I mean, sure, an Azure Drake might be better, but if you've already got a beast, which is very possible in arena, then you may want to actually consider this guy. But if your choice is between like this and God only knows, it would be really, really hard for me not to say this. It's just that simple. But again, it all depends on your mana curve. So, alright, so that's the 4 cards this time around. All of them are pretty good, except for, it's like it did it to itself. And then, of course, there's this one. Also, kind of sucky. Again, you notice a little trend here? Epic. And then epic. Not so epic, are they? Actually, they're almost like niche garbage. You'll probably never use them. So, keep that in mind. Anyway. So, hopefully we'll get some more cards next week. This is the Shiv saying thank you everyone for watching. Please like, subscribe, tell your friends, Google Plus this, Reddit it, do what you gotta do. I will be back as soon as they bring me some more cards. Until then, good luck.